Hey everyone, it is time for the second review, Bromwell. And Bromwell is, first off, I think she's going to end up being, by the end of this video, a, less than super excited for me recommendation. Just because 70 cost characters usually mean that there's a collaboration coming up, and with a new Final Fantasy and plenty of old Final Fantasies that haven't shown up in the game, and quite a few things that could use updates, such as Nier, I'm going to choose to believe that this is a harbinger of, or, possibly an omen of things to come. But anyway, Dark Elemental, 70 cost, 3 move, 1 jump, Paladin, Dragoon, and it's Winter Revise's main job, which if you need a refresher, we'll give it to you. The one thing I do want to talk about first is just this TMR, because this TMR is probably the thing I think is the most unexpected and outstanding thing of getting this unit. Grants haste for 3 turns, but also decreases AP consumption by 25% if the target has haste active. It's a really, really good TMR. I like the luck on it. I like the critical evasion. I like, yeah, critical evasion. That's what that is. Defense and HP. Overall, it's a pretty darn good physical unit accessory, or potentially any accessory, just because of how much AP consumption you're getting down for something that this thing does anyway. So yeah, I really like this TMR, and I'm glad that this is a permanent edition TMR, because yeah, it's pretty good. As for the weapon, this is an exclusive weapon for Bromwell. She is the well, she gets a pretty big upgrade for this. It's equipable by like basically all greatsword jobs, but Bromwell herself gets an AP consumption down of 15, an agility boost of 8, and a defense of 8, which is all pretty good on top of 20 defense penetration. That is exclusive only to her, and it makes her kind of, just pretty special, and I really do like that. Now, Master Ability gives her defense penetration of 15 and AP consumption down by 10, so if you're keeping track, basically her entire kit with her TMR is incredibly free. As for Dream Ability, reaction block rate of 50 and defense of 15, which are all things that I like. Now, talking really quickly, Dragoon isn't an overly exciting sub-job to have, other than the Protect stats effect, which gives, the Dragoon style boost of an attack boost as well. Dragoon is rather unappealing for a job equipped to any character. As for Paladin, Paladin does give the defense and spirit boost by a considerable amount, which makes, fairly survivable. Does have a tracked blade, which is pretty good for a unit that could potentially be a tank. And dispel all debuffs. The one thing that she did not get from Paladin is Immortal Spirit, or, ignore fatal damage, which is a major bummer, at least in terms of Paladin as a sub-job. Her Limit Burst does up her defense penetration as well, and decreases defense penetration and spirit penetration by 40% each, and has a fairly good range on it. I actually think that this is a pretty good TMR. It works really nicely to cancel out some of offensive units' abilities, and it has fairly good range. Not great range. I kind of wish this was a little bit further just to really leverage how good it potentially could be. But c'est la vie. It is what it is here. Taking a look at the support skills that this friend unit has, attack and defense up, and attack and defense penetration with AoE resistance. So a fairly offensive one. She also has defense and HP up, pierce and missile resistance up, and jump up, as well as HP and healing power. But none of those are amazing. Her counter basically counters all damage and reduces damage taken by 30%. And, it is both physical and magical, which is nice as well for a unit that's kind of a little bit more defensive. Looking at her main kit, so one of the big things, she can dispel auto restore and give that to allies, which is pretty cool. But how to say this. It's good, but it's not like we talked about before about removing some of the things that are keeping a lot of units alive nowadays. She can inflict stun. She can give reduced physical damage to herself by 50% for 3 times, as well as giving pierce resistance. That gets an upgraded to give regen and critical evasion, which is fine. You can break physical barriers on one of her ability. One ability that she has, which is her super job level 25 ability, this one right here. You can select up to 2 targets, dispel, protect, and shell for the targets, increase slash attack resistance penetration by 40, and absorb 50% of the damage done, which is pretty cool. This is definitely her best ability and pretty strong. She can also decrease dark resistance by 30% and inflict silence. Bromwell has some good stuff that it makes her, again, a fairly effective for the cost unit, and one that is particularly pretty strong. She feels fairly brawly. She can potentially be put with Sephiroth and leverage that in low-cost style events where maybe you're also running, I don't know, some other character as a tank to be as cost-effective as possible. And her resistances are fine across the board. There really isn't much I can say in complaint-wise for her. I think that she is pretty good. To that extent, she doesn't feel as cool as some previous characters. And when I say previous characters, I mean specifically... yes, okay. Just gonna have to cancel this out for a second. I had some farming going in the background, but it's fine. No flowers. Damn it. Anyway, what was I saying? I like Halloween Lucia more because she was able to do, some status effect stuff that felt very unique. Here we're just essentially looking at a duplicate of Winter Revies who didn't really take off, and this case also feels like it's going to be similar. Like, I'm less than overly impressed about it. But, we're going to do some brief testing here, test out some things to do with this unit, see how we like what she's essentially cooking, and go from there. That's not what I wanted. That's what I want. We always want to be running the barrier, running the barriers, making it stronger. And as for Bromwell, we're going to be testing her, essentially what her, what she essentially ends up being like. So first, I think we're going to run this TMR ability, Haste. It does allow us just some more turns and a real glance into how much AP reduction we are actually, getting. Like, yeah, you can calculate it, but seeing the overall cost of her kit, I think, is a rather important distinction with how good she can be. So yeah, 51 AP already, 9,777, lucky number potentially for some. Limit Burst. Now this Limit Burst initially is a 43 AP, and we're looking at it for the low cost of 2,000. Taking a swing here at the other characters, you can kind of see just how strong that she is capable of doing. And again, we are getting that defense penetration and spirit penetration off of these units, which make them less effective at actually killing us. And doing pretty good against anyone except Engelbert. Engelbert being more strong against slash type attacks. So let's go in here. Now this ability is, of course, for reduced physical damage taken. So we're going to run that in a second here, but I think we'll just check and take a look. You can see basically how much damage we're doing with different attacks. And I think we're going to want her job one just to see. Potentially very effective for killing off other units. Now she does have also, while she is capable of dealing with damage and breaking physical barriers, unfortunately, we do have to say that, she just isn't capable of getting rid of re-raise or ignore fatal damage, which is problematic potentially. But anyway, let us find this one. is her other one. That's, yes, Dispel Auto Restore. We're going to run this. Give her her barrier. And now we can kind of test out some of the damage we are capable of doing against her. And here, again, if we had run the Limit Burst, this attack would potentially be even lower. Just for comparison versus like some other characters, you can see how much damage we're doing against other characters, and Bromwell holds up fairly decently here, all things considered, against the damage types that someone like Wing Stern is capable of doing, which Wing Stern, very powerful character, very, very strong. All right, so take a break there. Thankfully not using up some charges on the barrier. And again, for comparison's sake, let's take a look at what Sephiroth is capable of doing. So I think Bromwell, like, again, for the cost that you are getting off of this character, you're essentially getting a really strong character capable of being fairly on par with what some of other great dark units are. And again, cost restriction, cost restriction, cost restriction, probably the best here, but an interesting defensive character. So let's take a second, go over here. And now we still want to see what Bartz is capable of doing here. But yeah, fairly offensively good for the party that she is fighting currently. And we'll just head over here. Get rid of some of these guys, just bop them on the head. Nice. And because we are pushing so much damage, I want to be careful about just how much. Oh no, I accidentally moved her too far out of the way. No, Umbra, you messed it up. By the way, just as a slight comment, really, really happy with how LD player is running. All right, now I should be able to get in here, take a bit of a swing. So yeah, Bromwell, as you could basically discern, one of the big things for Bromwell is going to be how good she is against physical units with such high defensive capabilities. And her Limit Burst does go a long way just to potentially stop other units from really effectively causing problems to her. Get down here. Good job, Sephi. But yeah, my overall final thoughts about Bromwell, and we'll show the Limit Burst off the animation a couple times at the end of this. I think that she is a very good character. For 16k free Lapis, you're essentially getting a pretty damn strong Darkness character. Now, that's not to say that I think that she will be any kind of a meta breaker or really push Dark too much further than it already is. She's essentially just pretty darn good, and, you know, for people who have the extra resources, this is fine. But I do think that one of my evaluations as to why I won't try for her is because she is a permanent unit. The TMR, I think, is still overall maybe the thing that I would want the most from the unit itself, but that's also having just have like Raph already and Sephiroth, and feeling that while, you know, a nice bonus is maybe not necessarily the biggest. But yeah, and also great sword laser. And I actually like that she is capable of not even that, but just bolstering the defensive capabilities of someone like Raph or, you know, other units who do have some defensive and spirit-based stats. So yeah, that is the end of this video. I don't know. It just said a bunch of stuff about saving, and here we have one ticket just for the end of this video. Congratulations for making it to the end. See if we have any luck, which is probably not the case because recently I have no luck. Yeah. Come on, change. Aw, damn. So there you go. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a fantastic week / weekend, and see you next week for whatever gets announced. Also, one final thing I do want to note. At the time of this recording, there has been no announcements of any live streams or like big kind of hints that something is coming. I think that it is mostly all quiet on the Western Front. And if that changes, we'll let you know so that you can prepare for anything in the future. See ya.